Recording in progress. good job, Sean. Yes.
I started it.
I don't have to call out Scott.
You missed it, Angelica. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining this regular meeting of the Readfield Select Board. We are going to start with 26 to 28 minutes from the last meeting, September 15th.
I would suggest that the motion for Micah Smith have a date other than 202 on it. Otherwise, I noticed nothing.
I have a motion with an amendment. Any second? Second. All those in favor? That's 4. Catherine is excused for this evening. Which she had the warrants, didn't she? Number 13 through 14.
She did.
Think you can pinch hit for us, Eric?
Oh, I can take a quick look at it. Yeah. Let me get back there here really quick.
I have it.
We've got the summary here. Okay, so this is warrant and payroll. Warrant is in the amount of $34,428.49. The payroll is that was the payroll amount. The vendors for accounts payable was the $64,168.66, total of $98,997.15. And let's see if there's anything that sticks out.
The one that I had a question about was just the Harris computers. That was the 26,000.
Yeah, that's for our accounting software.
Yeah, that's the annual.
That's the annual.
That's what I wanted to check.
It's a lot of money, and I've got pretty significant gripes with them right now. But we're in the middle of dealing with other stuff. So, but yeah, that was the biggest, I guess, single individual town expense outside of the main municipal employees health trust, which is the health insurance. Other than that, it really was all kinds of little things. We paid a little bit more, $2,500 for Derigo Assessing Group to basically, they're very close to wrapped up with the Fairgrounds project. They helped us with some of the work to get ready for the submittal. And we're going to get one more bill from them, and then they're wrapped up with that project. And then we'll move on to the next phase, which will be happening. We paid Dave Ledoux his money to be our assessing agent, $2,000 for that. And we did have a Colette's monument on here, and I did check and make sure that was for work that had been completed. And so that was for stone repair that had been completed. Outside of that, I didn't really see much noteworthy other than Secretary of State's and treasurers and all that stuff for the state of Maine fees.
I move we approve warrants 13 and 14 for $98,597.15.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Communication. First point is select board communication. Does anybody have anything they would like to share with the public?
Open space public hearing on the 27th.
27th. Is that a Wednesday?
It is a Monday.
Monday. Okay.
Which is not one of the nights of our meeting, which is why we picked it.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Jaron. Does anybody else have anything else? Okay. Staff communication. Eric, we have your town manager report.
All right. This is a little bit shorter because it's only been 3 weeks and it's been fairly focused work, as you all are aware. We held a productive staff meeting on September 18th, and we covered a few different items, but all very important. We talked about seasonal safety, the tech transition, contract negotiations, and employee recognition, and the upcoming budget process. I also let the employees know that we're looking at a kind of a multi-year horizon, trying to really keep things steady and avoid any kind of spikes. Because again, I think it's important for us, for the board to convey your direction to me and for me to convey that to the staff. So we've started early with that transmittal of information, and the staff were very appreciative of the update to the length of service programs. So that didn't go unnoticed before, but they really did appreciate it. Front office and finance staff did very well during the last week of September. We have the first half of taxes due, and many people pay their full amount then. So it's a very busy time. We started off the morning on Friday with a power surge that killed 2 battery backups and sent everything offline. So there's a little bit of stress, a little bit of scrambling, but they pulled it together. And Angelica and Teresa did exceptionally well dealing with that. So let's see, collective bargaining was initiated for our small AFSCME membership, and we are off to a good start. I want to thank Jaron and Sean for participating in that. It was good to discuss, and I hope you learned something about the process along the way, Jaron. Let's see, majority of the town manager administrative time over the past few weeks was dedicated to the fairgrounds projects. That essentially includes revising and resubmitting the community park application to the National Park Service through the Land and Water Conservation Fund program. I want to thank Greg Leinbach and Jerry Bly for making that possible. They really did. I would not have had the time to move that through before the government shutdown without their help. So it was really instructive and valuable. Let's see. So we drafted and submitted a $50,000 grant for T-Mobile. I think we've got a pretty good chance, but we won't know for a few months. But the good thing is we'll know in a few months. They have a definitive time frame, and we will talk about that more later on in the meeting. But it's always good to have something that comes in, in a short period of time, so it can help you structure your other, Continuing on with support, they were very good, and Jen Worthing, our community programming coordinator, was also very good at helping develop revised mailings and working on that petition that the board had asked for the funding article. Everybody's been on top of that, and we have a final draft that just got reviewed. It came back from Neighbors Driving Neighbors today, actually. So we're on track. We're not going to rush to a mailing because we do want to have it, coincide with together. Long story short. So thanks to Jen and the Age Friendly group for their support. Jen is also, before I move on, preparing for basketball. She's also working on community events, including an October 11th volunteer fair. That's this coming Saturday. I won't be here, but I hope somebody from the board is able to attend just to get a flavor of it. And she's also working on the Spooktacular on October 25th, and that's a Saturday also. We're going to be doing a movie at the fairground. And then absentee ballots are available for November. They became available today, so you can come in and request one, and Kristen will provide it. The remainder of this week between the MMA convention and the moose hunt. So basically, I'm cleared out. Hopefully, I'll come back middle of next week, but it all depends. I could be there until Sunday.
Stay as long as it takes, whether you get a moose or not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So October 10th, effectively, Teresa will be the acting town manager while I'm away, because I won't have any communications. There's no point in pretending. Roads maintenance and transfer station. There's a few notes here. I want to thank Dave for putting together an outstanding meeting with local contractors. Some who had plowed in the past, some who were just interested. But to talk about the RFP process and the actual contract, we got some great feedback, and that's going to be fed into revisions to both of those efforts. And I think we're going to have a better result and something that's a bit more right sized for Readfield, and hopefully keep bids for the fall ditching and culvert RFP. That will be discussed later on in the agenda. And then we have, we put a lot of the public, including in our partner towns of Fayette and Wayne, about the changes to Sunday hours. And people have been ecstatic. I mean, the amount of positive feedback we're getting is just, people are really happy with it. Some of them are a little bit disappointed that we're open until 3 instead of 4, but adding that Sunday day really 99.9% everybody understands that, yes, that's a much better then an hour on Saturday. So, yeah. That's it.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Any questions for Eric? All right. Boards, committees, commissions, and departments. We have a slew of minutes. We have Age-Friendly Committee, Board of Assessors, Cemetery Committee, Open Space Working Group, Library Board of Trustees, Open Space Working Group again. Yep, that's correct. And Readfield Recreation. So if you want to see what all these volunteers in town are doing, there's plenty of pages of material to read there for you. So thank you for submitting those timely. Next, we have public communication. Anybody? There's nobody online and there's nobody in person, but all those of you watching on YouTube live, I hope you're having a great time. We're going to move on to appointments, reappointments, and resignations. 26030, consider the appointment of Sonia Clark as warden for the 11/4/25 referendum election.
Do you want to do?
Let's do Sonia
Oh,
separate
okay,
from
we'll do
the,
Sonia separate.
yeah.
So I'll make a motion to approve Sonia Clark as the warden for the November 4th, 2025 election.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to make Sonia Clark the warden for our for being willing to do that for us again. Next item is 26031, consider the appointment of election clerks for the referendum election.
You want to do
Now I'd love
a full
you to,
one on this?
yeah, I would love you to do a slew.
Okay, I will make a motion to appoint Greg Durgan, Karen Peterson, Thomas Maloki, Kim Whitman, Elaine Katz, Donnell Nowak, Lorraine Clark, Marilyn Palmer, Grace Keene, Sonia Clark, Catherine Woodson, Stephen Woodson, Thelma Parks, and Emily Roderick, and unenrolled is Alan Curtis as the ballot clerks for the November 4th, 2025 referendum.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for that slate of wonderful volunteers. Any further discussion? All those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you for being willing to do that for us. Okay, next agenda item, we are going to hold a public hearing for the amendments to our general assistance order. I'm going to open that hearing at 6:43. Anybody like to make a comment on our general assistance ordinance amendments?
One quick note, Sean.
Yep.
That we normally would take these together, but the way the MMA delivered the package, it came in two parts this time. So we had actually adopted the appendices last time, and this time we're adopting the actual modified ordinance. So just the point of clarification there.
Okay.
But this is just the same standard model ordinance that we get every year from them that helps keep us on pace with state law changes and all of those things. So that's that.
I'm seeing no comments from the public. I'm going to close the public hearing at 6:43. And we're going to move on to old business 26018. Consider the revisions to the general assistance ordinance. This is our second read through, isn't it?
No, this is just the first. This
Is it just the first?
Yeah, this is just the, we had done, like I said, we did the appendices last.
That's right, sorry.
last
Oh,
meeting.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, and I do like to do these as a package, and normally they are, but like I said,
That's fine.
got split up this time.
I'll entertain a motion to accept.
Make a motion to accept the updated, should I say?
Yep.
General assistance policy.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to take the revisions to the general assistance ordinance. Any further discussion? All those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you very much. 26022, discuss the Readfield Fairgrounds Community Park project and funding. Eric, before you do start though, I want to echo your thanks to Jerry and Greg for all their work. You know, it was an amazing amount of work that went into it. the first time around, but then in some of the revisions and calling around and just checking in, and I'll kind of let you go through the detail piece, but I was really grateful for the work put in there.
Yeah, no, it was a huge effort, and, I'll try to be brief, and basically, what I included in the packet is most, or in entirety, what we sent to the Land and Water Conservation Fund to update that project. There was like one other piece that was our detailed budget, which I also didn't include here because it doesn't, it adds some, but really more for someone who's looking for specific information. But long and short of it is that we identified that funding deficit. We got the direction from the board to do everything we could to try to salvage things, but also be prepared if we needed to put in a backstop of local funding as an alternative. And fortunately, at least the way it appears right now, through that effort, mostly from Greg, on a volunteer basis, to go through and go line by line and break things out and make calls to contractors and get some donations and line up some work and all of those things. We basically had to price out a project that we hadn't needed to previously in a very detailed way. And so by doing that, we were able to, that project that was about $1 million, actually expanded in scope a little bit because we did get revised numbers from the engineers to make sure that we were proof positive, absolutely certain that we had all the contingencies covered. So they actually ended up increasing the amount of material we had for the parking lot and a few other areas. We added some work with trenching for the water lines to go in. So there were some small changes in scope that actually made the project more costly overall. But the work that was being done by the Guard was also more valuable than we had originally estimated. So that dropped 400 plus, maybe 450,000, depending on how you look at it, out of that project on both sides of the equation, on expense and also on revenue. So the project dropped down in cost, and then we were able to, again, kind of rebalance things, and found that by working with local volunteers and getting accurate price estimates, that the land and water conservation match that we had available would be enough to cover the cost of the project, considering the funds we had on hand, and really without too much more. The real important piece here, though, is that this is all all based on several assumptions, and some of those assumptions may or may not come to fruition. So it is important for us to continue to fundraise and apply for grants. And if we're able to get an additional $100,000 in fundraising through grants and donations of cash donations, I think we'll be in an incredibly good spot to be able to handle pretty much anything. One of the areas that we have made some assumptions on, that really is a big part of this whole formula, was the fact that we would have loam on site on the fairgrounds property that we would be able to scrape off and salvage. That can happen. The National Guard can do that for us. We looked at the soil tests and found that there was between 4 to 6 to 8 inches of good loam on the entire site. So we kind of averaged that out, looked at the square footage, and we're going to be able to use about 2,000 square or cubic yards of loam for our match. So that actually adds value to the project instead of having to bring it in. So that was a twofer. The challenge is getting it back on the fields. And right now we're under the assumption that we will find a way as a community to move that loam, spread it out, and run it with York rakes and things like that. I think that's a big ask, especially for that quantity, particularly the distribution along in the site. If we have a few local contractors that step up and are really committed, that's a possibility. But I would like to be able to pay contractors for this work. And as it stands right now, we're looking at about a couple $100,000 in donated time, labor, materials, equipment to make all this stuff happen. So again, there are some assumptions there, but we were able to work things around and present what I believe is both an accurate and viable project to the Land and Water Conservation Fund. we don't know what they think about it because they shut down the next day. And so, it is funny, but it's also
Yeah,
kind of
it's
sad, you know?
not, yeah.
But it's not.
It's not.
Because we now have to wait, nothing moves until they start moving, and then it's gonna be, a little bit of effort to get things going again. But we have revised engineering estimates. We have very good cost estimates on the key materials, the gravel, the pipes, the basketball court apparatus, all that stuff. So I think that we're in a very good spot, much better than we were before. We just had to do that in a very short period of time. Yeah, I think that we'll see what happens. I don't want to make any promises, but we're in a good spot, and we're going to carry forward as if everything's going to work out. We did have a chance to meet with the National Guard, a few of them. Actually, Craig invited me to the deployment for the vertical engineering battalion that went to Saudi Arabia. So I was able to meet and talk with some of the folks that were in the 133rd that'll be doing the work here on site for us. So that was really cool. I mean, it was a very powerful ceremony too, just to see people leaving for a year. But anyway, everything's moving along, and it looks like it's going to work. We again met with the engineers and double checked everything. So I feel very confident, but really what needs to happen is we need to continue to be diligent, and we need to continue to fundraise as if it's the end of the world in 3 months. And so that's the first thing I'll be working on when I get back, is keeping that going.
Thank you, Eric. Does anyone have any questions about the project or the work been done? Okay. Again, thank you to all those that were really working on that. It was a lot. I think even a donation might have come from that hard work too, but we haven't seen it yet, but.
Yeah, well, we've seen a few come in actually, small ones, and Greg, I think got one from Pike just by asking them about materials. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Pretty good. And I guess the big thing is that at this point, we don't need to schedule a special town meeting. We don't need to look at even using the money that had been previously earmarked as a backstop by the board. That 23,000, I can't remember the exact number, out of the open space fund, really that's essentially off the table, unless things change and we have to dip back into that. But I think it's an important discussion to have, and really the way it's looking now, we have plenty of time to figure that out. So
great. Okay, 26-023, discuss the community support for the Neighbors Driving Neighbors program. So that was, we had them join us last meeting to start sharing this information with us. Eric, you want to talk about what's in the packet? It looks very comprehensive.
Yeah, so basically we've been working together on a revised draft. Like I said, this is not the final draft. This was what I had at the time on Thursday or Friday afternoon of last week. But you've got some highlights, some things that need to be edited. NDN did suggest a few other changes to the language, which I haven't even had a chance to review yet. But long story short is that we will continue to collaborate on this, and we should have a final draft, I'd say, by the end of this week. That's the first piece. So the second piece is the board had discussed the possibility of using some of the reserve to put a donation forward immediately to Neighbors Driving Neighbors. And so I did look at the balance for the contingency fund, and $10,000 balance there. Nothing's been spent out of it. So I believe Catherine had intended for you folks to take a vote on that piece. So I wanted to make sure I provided information to enable you to do that.
And I think last week we were talking about $1,500 is our first donation, right?
Sounds right. I think it was 1,000, but if you want to do 1,500, they probably won't turn it away. So.
Well, that's the number that felt good in my head when they were talking about the numbers. I think I'd done some math at the time about the percentage of riders and stuff like that. So,
well, hey, that's great.
and I also think that that's separate to the age-friendly committee using their funds to do the mailing, right? This is just an actual donation to Neighbors Driving Neighbors to support their continued efforts, right? That's what we.
Right, this is separate from being.
That was my understanding
Side
too.
of this.
Yep.
Should get the signatures like
Yeah.
everybody else.
Yeah. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve $1,500 from, what fund were we taking?
Select board.
From the select board fund?
Contingency.
Select board contingency, if you want to give the exact number, it's 90, 40, 10, 50.
It would be account 940-1050. Oh yeah, it's right at the bottom. Look at that.
Yeah, you got it right there.
Right in front of my face.
Is our names correct, Mr. Dana?
As a donation to the Neighbors Driving Neighbors organization.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to make a $1,500 donation to Neighbors Driving Neighbors from the Select Board Contingency Fund. Any further discussion? All those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you very much. I am sure they will appreciate that. Eric, do you need signatures on that letter when it goes out, or do we have to approve that letter that as written as well? I would just want to make sure.
Yeah, no, so essentially it's administrative at this point, and you don't need to sign it. What we're doing is just doing the text, scrolly text for everybody's signatures. Just if you have any objections to the content, certainly let me know. We can either modify it or take your name off. But the idea is that it's a straight face test.
Yeah.
And
It
we
looks
just-
good to me. I just wanted to make sure in case you needed anything from us. Looks good.
Yeah, no, it'll be substantially the same as what's presented here.
Okay, great. And we are on to item 26024, consider quotes and proposal for VoIP services.
All right, so this one's actually short as well. I'd expected to be further along with this than I am. So I'm gonna ask that we defer this one more time. Basically, I'm still waiting on quotes from one other entity, and I've asked for, what's the phrase I'm looking for? Basic references for
yep.
local municipalities that may have used one of these multiple services. I will say as a primer, that what we're looking at effectively is around $5,000 a year for the voice over IP service. And most everybody, we had one that was a 1-year contract, but that was kind of an outlier because the price was crazy. But I expect most folks will be looking at a 5-year contract. So really, this is a $25,000 issue, and that's why it's being brought to the select board. Normally, I wouldn't bother you with telephones. But it really is fundamental to our operations. We want to make sure we make the right decision. And because of the cumulative cost and the term of the contract, I think it's important for the board to have a say in it.
Just for historical basis, what is our current phone situation?
So right now we're working we have Polycom phones. They're an older generation. They're pre-COVID anyway. And just like all technology, after 5 or 6 years, they start to get older. These things weren't that, up to date when we got them to begin with. So we're probably dealing with 10-year-old phone technology. And the big difference that's going to happen here is right now we just have a network that includes the town office. So just this building. But what we will be able to do with the new technology and the new service is add in the library, transfer station, and fire department. So we will have everybody on the same network, have the same ability to transfer calls, to send a voicemail, all that stuff. So if someone calls in with a task question and wants to report an issue, I don't know, well, anyway, we can transfer calls more easily. I won't get into examples, but it'll be a technological improvement just because things have moved along so far and so quickly. So I think it's going to be a great improvement for the system. But again, we want to make the right decision because it's a 5-year commitment. And this is roughly equivalent to what we're paying for, like our copier fees and things like that. So I'll be back probably in early November with the last go at this, I hope.
How many quotes, not quotes, but sort of references are you looking for? Are you just hoping?
Just a couple. I just want to talk to somebody and say, how's it working for you? How do your staff like it? What are the stumbling blocks you found?
Yeah.
All those type of questions. Yeah. So anyway, I'll just keep working on this. And like I said, I apologize that it was on the agenda, but I was hoping to have more done. I did.
Okay. Any questions for Eric on VoIP? It's a riveting topic.
Well, hey, it'll make it easy next time, right? You'll just be able to pick it up, read it and vote, right?
I like that you want to get sword references from other towns, just,
Yeah, I mean,
you
it's
know.
important. It's very important.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, other business, upcoming meetings and or future agenda items anybody would like to note?
So I did add in it should have been a proper agenda item, but I found it after I put the packet together, or remembered that we'd done it. The bids came in for the ditching and culvert work, so those were included in the other business section. And we actually had a really good turnout. We had eight bids. Some of them were just kind of pie in the sky. If nobody else gets it, I might make some money. But we did have a couple of very competitive bids between Cushing and CCC Construction. And John, as always, does a very good job and came in with the low bid. I have the utmost confidence that he can perform the work with the budget provided. And as John does, when I called him to talk to him about it and to say, hey, your apparent low bid, he started telling me the story about how he was talking with his son about bidding, and it doesn't surprise me those people came in high because they're just trying to get it. And he just wanted to make the point that he was talking with his son about the fact that you don't just charge something just because you can get it. That when you're bidding for a local municipality, you got to be be pretty sharp with your pencil. So anyway, it was good to hear that, and it's reflected in his bidding whenever we get one from him. So he's the apparent low bid, and so what I would request is a motion by the select board to accept John Cushing as the low bidder and to proceed with the work.
I will make a motion to accept the bid from Cushing Construction. The amount of $36,373.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the bid for our shoulder culvert and ditching work for Cushing Construction. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you, John, for bidding and continuing to do good work around here. All right, other business, anything anybody would like to discuss? Our next meeting is on October 20th.
We did that.
Catherine is going to be
We
so
need to-
jealous she chose to miss this meeting.
We need to fill 27 minutes with something.
No. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second, all those in favor? Thank you very much.